Hello everybody, Jessica here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to all my new subscribers. Thanks so much for joining me. So today I wanted to make some faux versions of this. So this is a press board index card divider with a metal tab. So this is real metal. And I have a journal that this won't fit into. So I need to make a small one, and I wanted to make a faux tab. So what I have done is I have cut out a whole bunch of, I've done some prototypes. So these are my prototypes. And I have one prototype that is made out of this Tim Holtz metallicized craft card. I have this prototype, which is just some straight out craft card. This has some clear gesso on it. Some of this Liquitex clear gesso, and that's this one. And then there's this one, which is this black craft card that also has some clear gesso, but this is a thinner one. So this is definitely a thinner weight. This is a medium weight, and this is the heaviest weight. And they've all come out slightly different. I can't decide which one I like the best. I'm kind of leaning towards this middle one. And I did it slightly differently than I did the other two. So let me show you what I've done. So first, let me give you some measurements. All these strips are the same thing. They're all 2 inches wide by 4 inches long. Now, my prototype, this was actually a mistake. My prototype, or not, my model, this isn't 2 inches wide. This is like 1.5. So if you want a smaller tab, see, as opposed to this size tab. If you want a much smaller tab, then you just make the width different. I would suggest still doing the 4-inch length. Ooh, that wasn't dry apparently. I would still do the 4-inch length, and I'll show you why. So with the 2-inch length, what I do is you fold it in half. So now it's 2 inches wide. I line it up in on a square. In the middle, kind of there. And then I make marks at 1 inch, 1 inch, and 1 inch here. So this is 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. And then I cut to the lines. And then I use my crocodile corner chomper with the 1/4 inch rounded corner, which is a little bit smaller. And I'm going to round the tip, and I'm going to round these corners. And then I'm going to I have one of these slot punches that you can get on Amazon. And I'm just going to make a whole bunch of slots. I'm going to do 2 slots wide. And then I'm going to come down and I'm going to make it 2 slots tall. And then I'm just going to go at the corners and try and even up the edges just a bit. It comes out a little bit different each time, but by the time it's decorated, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't show. I suppose I could actually trim that. Should I trim that? Yeah. So let me do that again. So this one will be a little bit narrower. There. So yeah, so now with this one, with the craft card one, I took my Ranger grit paste encrypt and a little spatula thing. And I just went around, that's to make this style here. So this is this style. And I just kind of smushed it along the edges of both sides. And I kind of removed it again from the score where it's going to bend. And a little bit of this grit paste goes a really long way. And I'm just going to kind of grit paste the edges. And then I'm going to let it dry, and I'll use acrylic paints to color it. And then I also want to kind of get some grit paste in the center, because my thought is that this is kind of like it's been sitting in a garden shed or a garden cabin, and it's gotten kind of mossy, or maybe it's like a forest wizard. If you were doing something kind of a fantasy base type of thing, it could be some kind of forest wizard who pardon me, I have a frog in my throat, you know, lets things get kind of overgrown and mossy. So yeah, so then I will let that dry and I will paint it after the fact. The way I did the other two, because I didn't want to just paint, like I really didn't want to cover this in paint. I wanted you to be able to see that there was some metallic underneath there. So for these, I took a scoop of grit paste and put it in this little well. I'm going to put that cover on so it doesn't dry out. And then I'm going to take some acrylic paint. I have these Amsterdam Standard Series. They're really lovely. They come in several boxes, and you can just put a tiny little poop drop there. I've got some green. See what kind of green that was. This was called, this is sap green and nickel titanium yellow. And then I'm going to stick those in there, and I'm going to give those a mix because I want it like a lighter, mossier green. And then I'm going to scoop that up and mix it right in with the grit paste so that the grit paste turns mossy green. And I can take my grit paste. Oh, I guess I have to cut another one of these. So I'm going to take this. Let's see. 2 inches is right there. This metallic cardstock sometimes doesn't like to fold super easily. So it probably is wise to score that, but I didn't. So then again, I'm going to make my marks at 1 inch, 1 inch, 1. Oh, this one's not quite 2 inches. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. And 1 inch right there. I'm going to cut to my marks and round, 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 and this one's going to be a little bit bigger. There we go. And then I'm going to take my colored grit paste, and now I'm just going to spread my colored grit paste. So afterwards, I have some patinas. I have moss patina. So this is not a Tim Holtz project, but it is a Ranger. Yeah, Ranger product and vintage, V-I-N-T-A-J. These are opaque patinas that are water-based. They're not alcoholics. They're water-based, and they mix beautifully, and they make really nice patinas. So I'm going to take my colored grit paste and spread it, and then you can add to the look with the patinas afterwards. You could probably use acrylic paints as well. I don't see why not. But I really like the way the patinas work on the metallic. Just spreading that out. Like so. use my finger tool in a second. Scoop that out. I don't want to waste any of it. There we go. All right, and the nice thing about this one is it kind of can stand up like a little tent and dry. Okay then, so then, let me grab a white, or two. Okay, so put that back in my water. With the, back to the cardstock one, with the gray grit paste, what I did for that is I'm going to use the heat gun to dry it. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll be right back. Okay, so now it's mostly dry. It becomes kind of, so I put the heat on enough so that it does bubble and blister a little bit. But it gives you a really nice texture. So that's the heat dried texture, grit texture paste. So now I'm going to paint it. And to paint it, I'm just going to take, I've got a stippling brush. And I'm just going to take some of that, what did I say it was? It was sap green. And I'm going to just bounce and stipple the sap green, pretty much the straight sap green, right onto that. So it's kind of like the dark undercoating base. And I'm going to get that really well covered. All the nooks and crannies of both the texture paste and the underlying cardstock. It really doesn't matter if it gets yucky underneath because it's going to get glued together eventually when it gets glued to the index card divider, which I'll show you what I'm going to use. Okay, so that is the dark underlayer, and then I have that yellow. Thanks. Oh, that was probably too much. I really like these tiny little ones because you can very often just squeeze out a tiny little bit. I'm just going to try and highlight the areas that are kind of sticky-uppy, the texture. And I'm going to stay away from the centers where I want it to remain kind of contrasting and dark. I just want to kind of highlight the area around where the label is going to go. So that is that. Each one is going to come out a little bit different, but you can see it's basically, oh, I forgot to put the holes in this one. Oh, shoot. Oh, that's okay. I can add the holes afterwards. Bummer. It's a cute little one. I like the smaller one. I wonder if I should make another smaller one. Probably. Okay, but you get the idea. So then with this one's I didn't dry, but what I'll do with this one is I will go in order to get some of those other color highlights, I'll go in with the verdigris patina and the jade and definitely the moss. And I'll add some highlights and lowlights to those. And that's how I'm going to make the faux tabs. And then you just use brads in the holes. Oh, I didn't make holes in either of these. What was I thinking? Let me quickly do one more so I can show you how I do the holes. So on here, so this is a 2x4 piece of paper with the clear gesso already on it. I'll make my marks. 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. I'll make my cuts. Snip, snip. I'll make my 1/4 inch square. Or rounds, and then I'm going to take my crocodile, and with the larger hole, make a hole there, make a hole there, and make a hole opposite it on this side, and then I'll use my slot punch to make the slot for where the label will go. There we go. That's what it actually should look like. And I'll just have to make my holes in that one after the fact. Okay, so that is where I'm going with this. I will, and to be making the actual index card divider, I have these offcuts from when I cut down my pressboard file folder. And I'm just going to cut these to size. Where's the dry one? And then this will go on here like a tab, and I'll use brads to fasten it on. So that is my plan for my faux metal index card divider tabs that I'm hoping will replicate that. So thanks so much for joining me for this little experiment. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it. If you do, tag me, let me know. And if you could, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button to follow along with how I progress on this project. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye-bye.